Hello, everyone. Welcome to the top of the hour. We're going to get started here pretty quick. Go ahead and start using that session chat. Give us a little wave or a little hello. Tell us where you're from. All right, everyone, welcome to this session of DEMOFEST, Deep Dive Discovery Best Practices with Elie Jermanous. My name is Garrett Erickson. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Consensus, and I will be your guide and moderator for today's session. DEMOFEST is, of course, presented by Consensus. Consensus is intelligent demo automation software that helps scale pre-sales with interactive video demos and interactive product tours. You can learn more at goconsensus.com, or you can view our automated micro demo at the link in the Docs tab to the right of your screen. We're really proud that we get to present this event to you guys for free for all attendees. There's no exchange of money to make this possible. That said, we do have a couple of organizations that we donate to for humanitarian causes, and we'd like to invite you to explore those and donate if you'd like to. So if you want to go to the link that's in the DEMOFEST Gives Back booth. There's also a link in the Docs tab on the right of your screen. You can see what DEMOFEST Gives Back is all about and some of our causes that we donate to. If you like DEMOFEST, we also want you to join our community on Discord if you're able to. There you can connect with our speakers like Elie and others who you've seen through DEMOFEST last couple of days. Get exclusive access to content and events, and this is where you can continue those conversations long after DEMOFEST has concluded. We encourage you all to join us. There's over 1,000 people on there already, and we'd love to have you guys there too. That link to join the community is already in the Docs tab, so go ahead and check that out when you get a chance. Participation is going to be crucial for today's event. Eli's got some questions. And we want you guys to be actively asking questions too that he can answer at the end of the session. On the right side of your console, you're going to see the different ways to interact with us there. The chat function is going to be huge. Eli's going to ask a couple of questions. We're going to chat bomb in the answers there. So we're really going to do that. You guys can also interact with other attendees and other sessions that way. Throughout the session, this session may not have it, but you'll see in other sessions that there are polls. So we encourage you to provide feedback where those polls show up. That feedback is really important, not just to us, but to the speakers. Elie, like I said, will be taking questions at the end of the session. So we encourage you to use that Q&A box all throughout, not just in the last 10 minutes, just to make sure that we have all the questions that you need answered. If at any time you have any technical difficulties, go to the bottom of the screen, hit that gear button, and you'll be able to see a help document there, and you can troubleshoot a couple of the common issues that come up in these types of sessions. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker. Elie Jermanous has been in the SaaS industry for over 15 years. He holds roles. He's held roles in both operations and pre-sales. Within pre-sales, he started as entry-level IC and has gone up to being a principal in the field. And then leading ICs and also leading leaders. His current role is as a pre-sales director and continues to hold a player coach role to keep his skills relevant and sharp. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Elie.
All right, great, Garrett. Thank you. Good job. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. All right, should be coming up. So what we're gonna discuss today. And I really want to treat it like a training. It's more around deep dive discovery, technical deep dive discovery best practices. So we're gonna go through a whole list of them, really one by one, calling them out. Should be fun and exciting. So with that, let's just get started. So just a little bit about me before we get into it. Garrett gave you a little bit high level, but just things on the right. My road dog in quotes. I love him to pieces. Named Leo. Favorite hobby is basketball. I actually played professionally for a few seasons overseas. I'm Lebanese. You'll see there from Lebanon, more of the Middle East area. And then my second passion outside of pre-sales and sales engineering is really property management, more around real estate and so forth. So I can talk about that all day, including pre-sale. So just a little bit about me, just a quick background there. All right. So for the agenda today, 3 things we're going to discuss. First, we're going to go back to the basics. Let's just level set the why, when, who when it comes to technical deep dive discoveries. And then we'll get into that whole list of things. So just rapid fire. I have several of them when it comes to best practices when executing a deep dive discovery, working with AEs, how to position things, structuring it, and so forth. So just a long list of them. We'll get through that. And then open for questions all throughout. So please, as Garrett mentioned, put it in the question. I'll be sure to save some time towards the end, and I will leave you with a couple of discovery quotes as well. All right. So let's start with something a little bit fun here. So let me play this video. Let me stop sharing and get all that set up. And let me know what is missing when you're watching this. So just a 2-minute clip, quick individual trying to sell something to the audience, and let me know what is missing. We'll open up in the chat after this couple-minute video.
Oh. Yeah, no, I mean, she didn't even mention that to me. So
no, it's not. It's whatever. Just a friend and being a good guy. But they take to the girl and I'll make her him with those eyes, and she's looking him with that body. I just know it. You know that I was this girl. How you guys doing? Done, right? Done.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes. Do you have any questions?
Yes, indeed, Don, we do. Is this a good machine?
Yeah, it's good if you're cheap busted. No, just don't accommodate with you. That one is okay. If you're really serious about car, okay, then there's only one model for you. The Audio 2000. This baby got the 16-bit dual DA converter, 3-bit tracking, digital key control, so you can change the pitch if your voice sucks. I don't need that.
That's nice. How much?
Price is not important.
No, price is very important, actually.
Okay, you got me. Take me away. Okay, it's a little bit expensive, but let me tell you, it's worth it when you sing to your girlfriend and her heart, boom, fall down on the floor. Then you say, "Thank you, Don."
How much does it cost exactly?
All right. Here's the real deal. Okay. I don't usually do this, but you guys look like cool guys, and I got a little piece of ass last night, so I'm feeling extra generous. Oh. I'm gonna let you guys have it for $1,300.
1,300.
Final offer.
Excuse me, I got a little warm now.
My friend. He gets a little warm.
Oh man, what is that? What is it? Get out of here with that. Is that real?
Oh yeah.
It's from the comfort of your.
Sorry, that. My apologies. All right, let me go ahead and stop sharing. All right, so let's open it up while I bring up my presentation again. Let's open it up. What was missed from this sales individual who's trying to sell a product? What was missed? Let's put it in the chat. And Garrett, are you still there? Is everything still functioning all right? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, everything's looking great. The answers are coming in. People saying feature bombing, pitch control, not knowing who the customer is, not asking questions, not asking what the client is looking for or what their needs are, understanding the customer.
Yes, great.
Use case. So a lot of great stuff coming in.
Okay, great. Sorry, I didn't click on the session tab. Okay, great. Yes, very good. And sorry, that was a little choppy, but hopefully it's sufficing. You all got the gist. Use cases. I love that one. Great, not knowing the audience. All right. You all got it. You all are great. Okay. What I was particularly looking for because of this session was a discovery. Really, he didn't take any type of time up front to ask any type of questions to really understand the audience. What specifically are you looking for? What would value mean to you when it comes to the solution or the product they're trying to sell? So no type of questions up front. Just jump right into it, assuming things. And then a comment on here as well, knowing your audience or your customer. So great. Good job. Just want to do that little fun clip and just open it up with that. All right. So now let's get through the basics. The why, when, who. Let's just align before we get into the whole slew of deep dive discoveries. Why a discovery? First and foremost, you want to be sure that it's a potential good fit. That's what you do discoveries for. Should we continue the sales process? Should we not? Should we lose early? Some organizations do believe in that, others don't. But in my case, yes, if you don't have a chance, then lose early and let's move on to the next opportunity. And then what solutions and services could be the best fit? So overall, you want to find out if it's a good fit or not. These are the three primary things I would say you need to know, understand, find in a deep dive discovery. You need to understand their current process, what their pains are in the current process, and what their future state is. So it's really about diagnosing before prescribing. We want to build that partnership. Trust is huge. You're going to hear me talk about trust all the way down throughout the whole presentation. And then ultimately, we want to come back, give a tailored solution presentation. So we don't want to just really hope it sticks. We want to know it's going to stick. And then building value. This is huge. This is what we want to understand. There's personal value. There's professional value. What does value mean to the customer? Don't assume things here. This should be unique in most cases. And what does value mean to the customer? Also, in turn, it's ROIs, justifying pricing, building connections, expertise, consultative, and so forth. But overall, I'll say these are the top three on why we do discoveries. When do we do discoveries? Ideally, the AE sales rep has some kind of opening initial conversation with the customer. Ideally, they're vetting things out, qualifying or disqualifying early. If it's great if they find BRFCs, business reasons for change, so more on the business company management side, why now, budget, timeline, BANT, all that good stuff. So ideally, that is happening pre-deep dive. And then you're going to do the deep dive before you actually get to the solution presentation. So overall, the AE has a conversation, just opening conversations more around business reasons for change. You then do the deep dive. And then to that last point, you're taking the information from the deep dive and giving a tailored solution presentation. A couple things to call out is that you're finding the value and you're presenting the value. As it says, we don't want to show up and throw up. It's more about that partnership approach. We don't just want to be a vendor. Who is involved? So on the left, your organization. So you as SEs, who is involved on the far left. Requirement is account executive and sales engineers. I am not a fan of sales engineers having any kind of meetings with the customer on their own. The account executive really manages the entire process, manages that relationship, that opportunity. So they need to hear things from for themselves. So even with a deep dive discovery, requirement is account manager and sales engineer. And then just provide some support on the executive level, sales manager, maybe the SE manager as well. And then typically, or not typically, sometimes, should be rare, you may have an SME. So very targeted approach, very targeted technical piece that they want to talk about and we want to uncover. You could potentially bring in an SME as well. And then also when it comes to the customer, so users for sure, who's involved in the process, they know the granular pieces of things. They can answer a lot of the questions really around the process, the workflow, the needs, the pains. And then IT in a SaaS-based environment should always be there as well, more around the integrations, their level effort, what's really in it for them, how do they move from one system to our process or their systems to our system. So IT should really be involved. And then other things, just a few at the bottom: management, compliance, procurement, project manager. There may be some other departments, individuals involved, but at a minimum, the users, the individuals actually involved in the process, and then IT resources as well. All right. Want to get that through quickly, just so we can now get through the whole slew, rapid fire, some deep dive discovery best practices. All right. If you have any questions as I go, put them in the chat, and the Q&A section, we'll be sure to get to those. All right. Quick disclosure. These are just general. You know, in my years of working, close to 8 years, close to 9 years on the pre-sales, both individual contributor as well as on the leadership side. These are just what I've seen, the feedback that I got from our sales engineers that really brings value, really works. But I want to quickly call out this disclaimer that it may be a little different for you, given your sales processes, your practices, businesses, industry that you're in. But overall, these should be general. You should be able to take at least a handful of nuggets away from these. A couple of other housekeeping items before I get into it is that I want to be tactical today. So there's a place and time to really talk to high level commercial alignment, strategize, and so forth. But today it is the tactical approach. So we just want to call that out. Also, as I stated earlier, I want to treat this as a real training. So, and what I mean by that is I want to have this as a good takeaway. So this material, these slides, what's really the information presented, well and can be shared with you. So chat me via LinkedIn, reach out to Consensus, say I want this deck, and we'll be able to get this deck to you. So I want to treat it as a good takeaway for you as well. I want to call that out. All right, cool. Cover the householding items. All right, let's get into it. All right, so primary goals. So just overall, again, this is more of level setting, but this is best practice as well. What are the goals of a deep dive discovery? Have to reiterate, current process, pains, and future state is what we're trying to uncover. And why not lead with that? So before you actually jump into it, hey, customer, what I'm trying to figure out, or during my section today, I'll be looking to really uncover your current process, your pains, of what you want in the future state. So why not lead with that? Tell them your goals. I found that really hits home. That really ensures that people are aligned, that the call is managed well, just by opening up with your primary goals here. One thing I want to call out is future state. I see that missed sometimes. So great, we go to their current process and their pains, but what do they want? What are they interested in? What will bring value to them? So really just ask, hey, as a future state, my understanding is you want, or would this interest you? So you really got to get buy-in on what they want in the future state. I want to be sure I call that out. Uncovering what is important to them when it comes to value. So talked about that a little bit, but that is huge. Value is almost everything. So what does value mean to them? How can we express, we can address that value, or meet that value, meet that goal? And it doesn't have to be professional. It can be personal. On the tax information reporting side, which is what SOVOS compliance does, a lot of tax reporting, but there's busy seasons. So let's just take January. You have to print and mail out the forms. They may be losing sleep. They may have a lot of manual processes where they really can't get things done in time. So if they're losing sleep, that's more on the personal level. You're really helping them gain their life back, gain some sleep back, some energy back. So it doesn't always have to be professional. It can also be personal. Big thing here, goal is pains. If you're not finding pain in their current process, then you have a very limited, very small amount of close winning that deal. So keep that in mind, the back of your head. I need to find pain. So that's around complexities, limitations, shortcomings, and so forth. So you're the techno experts. You should know the questions to ask to really dig deep to find pain. Build trust. This is huge. Sometimes we skip the deep dive discovery, and now the first time we're meeting the customer is during the solution presentation. I really don't like that too much. Let me build the trust during a deep dive discovery. Let me have some chemistry, some connection going into the solution presentation. So I'm going to talk about trust a lot throughout here, but that is a big one, trust. And then they need to understand that we can help. Don't let them leave the deep dive discovery conversation and not knowing that we can help. Deep dives are all about the customer. Solution presentations all about us. But with that said, they cannot leave the deep dive not knowing we can't help. And I'll have more around that, but that is also very important as well. Next here is ensuring we're a good fit for both parties. So just one of the goals, just you have to go in there just knowing that, hey, can we even fit to what they're looking for? Can we even address their pains that they're looking for? So you want to make sure it's a good fit for both parties. And then gather all that's needed. So go in there prepared. You want to come back knowing that you can give a good tailored solution presentation. We don't want to be cookie cutter here. We're not doing a discovery for nothing. So we're coming back to tailor a solution presentation. AE should be gathering pricing. So typically during solution presentation or sometime after, pricing will be presented. So AE also needs to ask some questions if they haven't gathered what they need for pricing. And then any internal necessary documentation. So maybe you need to pass documentation to business partners, such as implementation. We call those the SRD, service request documents, that we need to take during pre-sales and provide it to really implementation so they can start pricing things out or really expect the level of effort and so forth, what this customer needs. So tailored solution presentation, pricing, and internal documentation. You want to be sure you gather information for that. All right, we're going to keep ripping through. Overall high primary actions. So walk through a typical process or requirements to be sure all on the same page and aligned. So what I found valuable is that you don't want to just jump in and start asking questions. First, let's align on the process, on the workflows, on the general requirements. So it's not about them. It's not about us. Just in general, these are the requirements. Is this how you understand it, Mr. Customer? And diagrams are great for this. So on the SOVOS side of things, we have a nice diagram that really explains the requirements from left to right on what it takes to actually the mandates, the requirements to do tax reporting. So we walk through that first just to really level set. And then after that, you want to ask some open-ended questions. So now we level set. The requirements are understood by both parties. So now we want to ask those open-ended questions. In addition, and this should be given, but this is part of it. This is the primary actions. Ask open-ended questions, take notes, and provide those notes back to the customer. You want to really ensure that they know you understood what they said during the deep dive. So that is important. We call that a vision letter. Typically, the AE owns that, and they provide, hey, this is the vision letter. This is what we learned. This is the vision that we have for you, given the deep dive discovery that we participated in. And then the action, as I stated, you need to take the notes that you gather from the deep dive and then come back to the solution, a tailored solution presentation. As tailored as possible, but how I like to look at it is the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time when you do a solution presentation, it should be somewhat the same, because we know that brings value. We are the consultants. We know they should really be looking into this, and we can help in these areas. And this is what should be important to you. And the other 20% needs to be that tailored portion. So this is why I learned that's unique to you. This is how we're going to help you uniquely in this area. So that's kind of how we approach it, is 80%. Hey, we know they need to know about this because this is great. This is really going to help them. This is our experience that we're bringing to the table. And then the 20% is really what we learned from the deep dive, and really tailor that 20% to really hit home on what you learned on the deep dive. All right. Intros and goals. This is important, but sometimes it's overlooked. So when the AE should somewhat own this, because it's at the very beginning. You want to talk about what are your goals and expectations. Both the AE and the SE should be doing that. And again, your expectations can be, as I stated earlier, I want to walk through your current process, what your pains are, what you want a future state. That's what I'll be covering today. Those are my goals. So again, you can use that. And then the customer should also do that as well. So what are your goals, your expectations, Mr. Customer? And sometimes they don't answer that. You kind of got to really nudge them and push them to answer, because that is very important. You want to make sure that everyone's aligned and you are addressing their goals and expectations. Customer not willing to go through a deep dive. Want to call this out quick. Why not? Are you serious? Are you not serious in this, in us potentially helping you? Do you want a partner or do you want a vendor? Again, we're trying to take the diagnose before prescribing approach. We really want to get to know you to let you know exactly how we can help. Again, we don't want to just throw up and show up and throw up. Also, do they already have their top picks and so forth? Are they just comparing or quote or want to quote on price? So kind of question that if a customer does not want to spend the time up front doing a deep dive. Sometimes that makes sense. Sometimes it suffices, especially for smaller transactional deals, sure. But the more medium, complex deals, let's spend the time together so we can really uncover things and we can come back and give you a tailored solution presentation exactly on what value means to you. Customer understands and brought into the sales motion or process. So this needs to be brought up, and deep dive discoveries need to be intertwined strategically, inserted strategically into that process. So hopefully the AE is talking to the customer and really outlining the sales motion, the sales process we're going to go through, and there should be a deep dive in there. And they need to upsell that deep dive. They really need to talk about why we do it, how we do it, the benefits they're going to get out of it. We can come and give an 8 to 10 hour solution presentation and hopefully something hits home. Or we can spend an hour in deep dive and then an hour in a follow-up tailored solution presentation. Then we can really be pointed and address your exact specific concerns and, again, what value means to you. So they need to understand the sales process first and foremost, and then where deep dives fit in and the value of those deep dives. Anticipate. This is huge. Tell my SEs if they are watching, haven't seen who's on. But more of a senior thing that you can do is to anticipate what is going to come up. See it before it happens and plan for it. This takes some tenureship, some time, some experience, sure. But as you grow, it's very lovely to see SEs really anticipating, knowing it's going to happen before ahead of time and planning for that. So do the same thing here. Follow-up questions, answers, best practice, plan for that. What integrations do they want or could they want or are they going to ask about? What's the process workflows? What are objections that could come up that I'm planned and ready to really talk about? What pains could they have? So anticipate as much as possible. Anticipation, keynote, again, call that out there as well. Do that as much as possible, but apply it here as well. And as I stated, this takes more experience, tenureship, guidance, coaching. But as you develop, look to anticipate. That is very important. Sending proper customer meeting invite. This should be a given, but let's go through it really quick. AEs should really own the invites in our eyes. Again, they own the relationship. They manage the opportunity and the customer. So they send the invites, really managing the expectations for the meeting. So set those up for success. Be professional. Managing meeting expectations will help, just giving a good invite and good details on that. And then sometimes invites are forwarded. So if there's not a good subject line, if there's not good details in there, how are the brand new individuals who are just joining the call, who just received this forwarded email, going to even know what this call is about? So again, it's setting up for success, even if that is forwarded. Real quick, subject line, example. So customer name and SE company topic discovery. So example here, Exchange, that's the company name, and SOVOS, that's who I work with today. Tax information reporting, that's a topic we're going to discuss, and it's a discovery. So it could be that simple. And then just the meeting invites, just some good details, the purpose of the meeting, the agenda of the meeting at a minimum. So want to call that out just again to really set up the meeting for success. Having a strong opening tell. So before you get into anything, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have heard about the tell, show, tell concept. If not, look that up. There's a decent YouTube video on that. Tell, show, tell. With that, don't just jump into them. Tell them the roadmap. Tell them what you're going to cover in your section. And again, those three things I use when I do deep dive discoveries all the time. Current process, pains in that process, and the future state. open it up with that. And then what's everything you're going to cover? So, for example, we like to go through the typical process. So the things I outlined earlier. So Mr. Customer, what we're going to go through today in my section, we'll go through a typical process. Want to make sure we're all aligned on the same page on the requirements. We're going to take notes. We'll also provide those notes back to you so you have them throughout the whole sales process. And then we're really going to take these notes and come back and give you a tailored solution presentation. Does that sound good to you, Mr. Customer? So again, just an example there. Tell them everything you're going to cover in your section, and then get buy-in and alignment. Does that sound good? Is that what your expectations are? Will that be valuable for you today? So don't just go over the roadmap, but get buy-in that that is accepted from the customer's end as well. All right. I did say we're going to rapid fire. So let's keep going. Internal prep. Let me take a step back. Just so we get aligned here that we win or lose during the prep. I hope you all see that way. That should be true. If we're very properly prepped, then we have a good chance of winning. If we're not prepped, then we have a bad chance of winning. So it's really we win or lose during the prep. You need to really take a look at it that way. You got to have your ducks in a row. For SEs to provide the AEs or even the customer a good service, then we need a prep. So I just want to quickly hit home on that. Everyone internally within your company, organization, sales side of things, everyone that's going to attend the meeting should be on that internal prep. You don't want somebody that's brand new that internally on your end, business partner that just joins. They didn't join the prep, and then now they're kind of confused, or hey, we talked about that during the prep, but you brought something totally different up. So proper best practice is that everyone that's going to attend the customer meeting should be on that internal prep. Internal prep should need to be sent at least 24 to 48 hours prior to the customer meeting. That may be different for you because you need more time or maybe less time to prep. But on our end, at least give us 24, 48 hours, ideally 48 hours, just makes everyone's life easier. Let us get our materials, our questions in line. But you determine what's best for you in your sales engineering or organization. So you got to get that time to the AE so everyone's aligned and on the same page of when to schedule that internal prep. What's really nice as well, best practice, I would say, is you have predefined prep questions that SEs are going to ask AEs. So what I've seen is that this really provides good structure and alignment and really allows SEs to know what to ask. And in turn, the AEs will proactively know what SEs are going to ask. So that way they can gather that information throughout the sales journey. So it works twofold, really alignment between AEs and SEs, and then AEs will know what SEs are going to ask. So that really helped them even ask the proper questions to the customer. So really having that documented. And then on the back end is the debrief question. So another bonus side note, you should be having debrief sessions or feedback loops after each call. So everyone that participated, hey, what went well? Hey, what things can we work on? So why not have that documented? So what are good debrief questions? What are the exit criterias? Did we meet them? Did we not meet them? How can we improve in a certain area? So really ensuring that you have the internal prep questions documented as well as debrief post questions documented, really, again, around the exit criterias and so forth. All right. Let me ask a quick question. Are internal preps required on your end? So within your organization, working opportunities, meeting with customers, are internal preps required?
Go ahead and type your answers
in the chat. Okay, great. Couple of yeses. And this is kind of selfish for me. I want to see how you all are doing it out there. Okay, strongly recommended, not required. Most yeses. I like the exclamation mark. Sure, yep. what Joe said. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay, great. That is awesome. We totally require it as well. Even our leadership says, if you don't have a prep, we can decline going to the customer meeting, because again, we're not going to provide a good service to the AE or the customer. We don't have our ducks in a row. We don't know exactly what we need to bring up or talk about or what has been discussed prior. So great. Internal preps are required. I would stick with that again, because we win or lose during preps. Yes, good comment. All right, great. Let's continue. Open-ended question. This is a given, but we're in the best deep dive discovery, best practice session. So technical coverage, you need to dig deep, and you can only dig deep via open-ended questions. So be sure you do that. It's okay to ask close-ended questions just for a quick question, but it needs to be followed with the open-ended question. So it's okay to ask. Definitely don't have to. Rather ask an open-ended question, but it's okay to ask the close-ended, but it needs to be followed up with the open-ended. Make it a conversation. So this is huge. Open-ended questions really help with that. This is not an interview. You're not interrogating them. It's more around conversation, and they should be talking more. Solution presentation, sure, that's about us. We're probably going to talk a little bit more. Should still be conversational there. But deep dive discoveries, this is about them. Keep that in the back of your head. If you're talking more than them, then something is a little off. So keep that in mind. And it should be a conversation. Try to make it natural flowing, natural progression throughout the conversation, and so forth. So again, should be just a natural flowing conversation. Plan questions ahead of time. So this should be a given as well. But these need to be documented. I think the biggest thing here is that you don't want to just, I hate to say willy-nilly, but you don't want to just go in there asking questions all willy-nilly. You want to be structured, prepped, ready to go, and you need to have those foundational questions documented. And why not have the deeper questions documented as well? This is a little bit more difficult. So 100%, the foundational questions, these are proven successful. I know I need to ask them. This is really what will uncover pain, will uncover the value. And then you could take a step deeper. This is a little bit more challenging on, hey, for this question, they're going to say this or they're going to say that. And then these are my follow-up questions for the different answers they may have. That's taking it a step above and beyond, but that's even better if your organization can do that. So what are the follow-up deeper questions that you can answer per the customer's response? And then one thing I really like, one of our sales leaders mentioned this, and I'm taking it to heart and I like it, is all roads lead to pain. So you need to ask questions that will lead to pain, follow-up questions that will lead to pain and so forth. He actually said leads to death. So that's taking it really very far, but you got to make them feel the pain. If you're not making, and you got to do it in a cordial, nice, friendly manner, sure. But you really have to, all roads, the questions that you ask, the follow-up questions, you're trying to uncover pain. So keep that in mind. If this question you're asking is not going to uncover pain or not relevant to uncovering pain, then think twice about that. So again, all roads, all questions you ask should lead to pain. Implications. This is typically on the AE to ask. Sure, that's more around the business, the sales approach, and so forth. But why not SEs ask this as well? There's some turnover on AEs here and there. I'm sure we're aware of that. Some AEs are better than others. But why not just ask yourself if it's missed or if it's a good time, it's a natural, good place to ask that. Ask some implication questions, personal and professional. So how does that impact? If we can take this on for you, how would that impact blah, blah, blah? Again, it should be personal or professional. So just find some implication questions that are really good. Tangible items. This is great. How much time do you spend on that? If you ever hear something's manual, you need to really dig into that. And I think that just goes across the board for business to business, selling solutions and so forth, especially on the SaaS side. If it's manual, really need to dig in. That should be a light bulb there. How much time does that take? Who's all involved? Ask some implication questions and so forth. So try to get some tangible items out of this deep dive as well. Outsourcing. If you ever hear outsourcing, that should trigger a bell as well, because outsourcing means something different to everyone. Just want to quickly call this out. Don't assume what outsourcing means to them. Maybe outsourcing to them is just a little piece, or it's the entire process. So you always want to ask, what does outsourcing mean to you? So forth. What do you mean by outsourcing? So when you hear outsourcing, which a lot of customers say here and there, be sure that you actually understand what that means to them. Nibblers. So I coined this. You don't have to use this, but at least understand the concept behind it. So deep dive discoveries, they don't have to show up to the solution presentation. So keep that in mind. So with that said, get them excited to show up. I call it nibblers. It's like when you go fishing, you want them just to nibble on a little bit. Again, deep dive discoveries about the customer, and then solution presentation about us. But they need to understand that we can help, and they need to get excited about that. So as you find a pain, don't just leave them hanging with that pain and move on to the next question. At least say that, yes, we're here to help, and this is how we can do it at a very high level. And I'll show you exactly how we can do it in the solution presentation. So let them nibble on something, let them get excited before even attending the solution presentation, so they actually attend. Because again, some customers may be a no-show, and hate to say, maybe you didn't do a good job during the deep dive. You didn't get them excited enough, and they don't show up to the solution presentation. So get them excited is really the concept here in regards to nibblers that I call here. So get them excited on what's coming up for the demo. Again, find a pain, quickly illustrate that, hey, yes, we can help in that area. Couple sentences, this is how we can help, and I'll show you how we can help in our solution presentation. Use nibblers primarily for what's important to them. Don't just throw nibblers out there left and right. Just when you find the pain, when you find something that's important to them, make them feel rest assured that we can help. Again, a couple sentences of how we can help, and I'll show you exactly in the solution presentation. Remember, discovery is about them and not about us, so we talked about that as well. So nibblers should always be high level. You do not want to go into weeds. You do not want to give granular level information. It should just be high level, just to produce some excitement for them or confidence that we can help. Save some things for the granular details for the actual demo. So kind of relates to step 3, but nibblers high level, the granular discussions, points, workflows, processes will be discussed during the tailored solution presentation. And this is the big one highlighted in yellow. This is how they can feel confident, rest assured that we can help even during or post the deep dive. So great, they will know we can help during the solution presentation, but why not them be rest assured and feel we can help even during the deep dive? All right, know your solutions and services and consider them best practice. So this should be a given. You should know your solutions and services, study them, prep them, know them inside and out. That will be of value all throughout, but consider that as best practice. So hopefully your solutions and services are doing things in the best practice fashion. If not, that should be a discussion between you and your product team just to really get there. But now you know what best practices are. Your solutions and services should be the best practice method. So if the client is not doing it the way your solutions or services do it, then really kindly, cordially call them out on that. So what are your limitations? Why are you not doing it that way? You know, we understand best practice is this, this, and that. Can you just tell me why you're not taking that approach? So what are the limitations? What are their pains, their gaps, etc., on why they're not doing it in the best practice fashion? Then again, that comes back to nibbler. Now explain really what the best practice is. So you found the gap, you found the pain, limitation that they have. Then just come back and address, you know, how we look at it and how we can help here. Couple sentences, and I'll show you exactly how we can do that in the solution presentation. So kind of tying that back to the nibbler as well. All right, there's a lot to cover, and I'm running out of time. Worth the customer's time. So this is huge. I asked this during the brief sessions with our SEs. Was this worth the customer's time? First of all, did you properly prep yourself, as well as the business partners, just to make sure everyone's properly prepped and ready to go? Did you ask them necessary questions, really the foundational questions as well as follow-up questions, to be sure they provide you good information? So that's what it comes back to. Did the customer feel that you got what you needed, they got what they needed, and they provided good, valuable information. I think number 3 is most important for this topic is, do they feel they provide you valuable information? So was it worth their time there? Did you give good nibblers just to really get them excited and so forth? And then were you being consultative? So SEs, look at yourself as being that consultative resource. Really, I'm trying to connect your organization with my organization and really, really talk about the things in between and consult you throughout, provide education throughout, let you know, hey, this is what best practice is in this specific section or area, or hey, you're stuck there. This is what other similar clients are doing. So be consultative, provide some education and so forth. Structure conversation when applicable. So sometimes it makes sense to just go into deep dive discovery, open conversation, open dialogue. You're okay. Depending on where it goes, you'll be fine. All is well. But for the most part, I really like structured. That's really ensures that we get what we want out of it if we go in there with a structured approach. So use slides, workflows, diagram, really structure the conversation. We like to really go through that typical process. We carve out the typical process, and this is where we're going to ask questions. Just, again, structured, more management of the call, and we're going to get what we want out of the deep dive discovery. So go over the typical process as I outlined. So just reiterating there that, hey, this is the structure we're going to have. We're going to go through a typical process. Then we'll ask you some questions, and then utilize your valuable questions that you have. So just really quick, just structure, I think, goes a long way. So look at it a little bit differently. Go towards a structure route, I would advise, instead of just a open conversation. Okay. With that, and these aren't even, these are probably a little bit over half of the deep dive discoveries that I thought of. But let me pause here and let me, 1 second. Let me cover a couple more, and then I'll open it up for a question just to be sure that we can address your questions. So take team effort. It's beautiful and impactful when this is done properly. So it shouldn't just be AE, here's the SE, do your thing, SE. No, let's have this as a take team effort. Interject some good implication questions, or interject some things that we learned about them during the BRFC or the first stage. So just add value and so forth. So the SE is just not talking on their own. Couple of watch outs. Don't talk over each other. That's key. AE should really be adding additional color, and then again, referencing prior conversations. Know each other's lanes. So going into it, good tenured SE and AE should know each other's lanes. Let each other answer that question in their specific lane. So don't try to answer questions that are outside of your lane. Just be cordial, best practice, know your lanes, answer questions within your lanes. Work off of each other. Prep good insertion points. So that's the key there. During the prep, hey, I'm going to talk about this. This is a good time for you to insert blah, blah, blah. So prep for those good insertion points. And then no tangents. Prep for that. Talk to the AE talk to the SE. Just no ongoing tangents. Let's stay relevant. Let's talk about what's at hand and so forth. Ideally, do not need to go back to ask any other questions. And I know this is harder said than done. I know this can't be done each and every time, but this is the ideal best state, that you're managing the time, you're managing the opportunity, you're managing the call, you're managing the audience to be sure you are gathering all that you need. And a couple points there is, again, prep. Manage the meeting and audience. So you want to be sure that you're staying on track. That goes back to the structure you really need to have. Time management skills. That's just a soft skill there. Schedule the duration of the meeting properly. So this is big right now during prep or pre-prep. How long should we schedule this for? Well, I got to ask this, and this. They're looking into this product, this service. So that's and that. So really properly schedule the time to be sure that you can gather all the questions the first time. Schedule with the proper audience. That's a big one here as well. Again, to be sure you don't have to go back to ask any questions. This can't always be done. Maybe you need to do multiple deep dives to be sure you're connecting with all the audience members. But best practice, have everyone that's involved in there on the call so then you can ask all your questions and gain all the information that you need. And the big thing here is do things right the first time. So this is around prepping, around your experience, your exposure to opportunities. This is huge. You don't want to go back and really remediate situations or correct situations. So this is just big in general. Take this away from deep dive discovery, but you want to do things right the first time. Plan for that approach. Use customers' terminology. So way to gain their trust. If we call it one thing, they call it another thing. Take note of that and use their terminology. It's another way, again, to gain trust. And now they better think you understand their really processes, their workflows, and so forth. So just another opportunity to tailor things as well. You want to tailor things as much as possible. Sometimes it makes sense not to tailor it because it applies to all customers, sure. But take advantage of this. This is another way to tailor things for that customer. All right, a couple more, and then I'll leave you with the quotes, and then I'll answer some questions. So note-taking responsibility. So let's just get on the same page with the AE. Hey, AE, I'm going to be asking all the questions. I really need to follow along throughout. I need to answer some of their questions. So during the deep dive discovery portion that we will be doing, can you please take the thorough notes for us? I would really appreciate that. That'll go a long ways for me. So just really convince or have the AE take the thorough notes. And USCs, you need to take those high-level notes so you can keep up with the conversation as it goes. So you're not off the hook here. You need to be sure that you're not re-mentioning things, re-asking things, that you're actually understanding things and taking quick notes on your end. That's a skill in itself. If you want to type them, if you want to write them down, but figure out how you can take quick notes so you can really keep up with the conversation. Show empathy when possible, or sympathy if you've done it before. But this is great. We're selling to humans. It's a human-human connection. You're going to find the pain. So again, don't just leave them hanging. Some examples here. We have seen that before. You're not alone. I'm sorry to hear that. These things go a long ways because, again, look back at it that we're trying to find the pain. We're trying to put them in that tough position. So if you're doing that, at least show some empathy in regards to that once you do find that pain, that you really understand and that you're empathetic about it. Okay, I have some other ones. Just rip through them. I'll be happy to discuss it with anyone. Just chat me in LinkedIn. Also, I will provide this deck. Chat me in LinkedIn or reach out to Consensus, and definitely you can have this deck as needed. But I do want to save you all time to be sure that I can answer any of your questions. So with that said, let me leave you with a couple of quotes, and then we'll get into the actual questions that you all have. All right. The questions you ask are more important than the things you could ever say. Keep that in mind. That's absolutely awesome when you're doing deep dive discoveries. Whatever has been discovered has to be put to use. Otherwise, what is the use of the discovery? That's the whole focus here. So if it's not important to you or the customer, or you're not going to use it at some point, no need to ask that question. No need to discover that item. So be sure whatever you're discovering, it is going to be used at some point during the sales motion, during post-sales onboarding or whatnot. So keep these two in mind. With that said, go discover something, and I want to leave some time for questions. So,
awesome.
So Garrett, you have some questions?
Yep, we've got a couple. So we've got time for one or two of these. So one came from Rodrigo. They got a couple upvotes and says, how many DDD meetings can be considered enough to go into a commercial sales plan?
Oh, that's a good question. Depending on medium enterprise level, as much as it takes. You want to be sure that you uncover all that is necessary and understand everyone's value. There's different individuals within a sales cycle, a sales motion, different stakeholders, multiple champions potentially. So really you want to uncover as much as you can. So as much as the customer allows. Again, that goes back into getting them bought into the sales motion, sales cycle, getting them bought into discovering how valuable it is. So from my perspective, I want to uncover as much as I can. I want to talk to everyone in really the process. So I can come back and give a great value pitch solution presentation that is tailored. Sometimes that's not necessary though. So sometimes you can find out a really good amount of things just talking to one or two. But if you're not getting what you need from those one or two departments or individuals, yes, expand it out and let's see if we can connect with those others so we can get even more great information.
Great, thank you.
Good question.
Next question came from Peter Cohan. I put it in the Q&A. It says, why did you, earlier in the presentation, you said that you felt the SE should not meet with the client without the AE. Why do you feel that way?
Yeah, and this may be different in your organization, the approach that you and your leadership want to take. But again, during the sales process, the AE needs to be involved. I hate trying to reiterate things that the customer said. So why not the AE be involved in that meeting so they can hear it directly from the customer, so they know exactly what's going on. They know the questions that we ask. They know their responses. They're helping us take notes. They're also building the connection with the customer. So there's a lot of benefits in AEs joining SEs each and every time when talking to customers. If SEs go out and do it on their own, now where's that relationship being built with the customer from the AE side of things? Now you have to take all the notes and reiterate it to the AE. So best practice is AEs should be joining you on customer calls, again, because they're managing the opportunity and they should be really involved all throughout.
Wonderful. And
but again, you may do a little bit differently, see it a little bit differently. But yeah, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And the last question came from Joel Hovey. He says, earlier you mentioned the vision letter and that your AEs typically are responsible for this. Are your AEs typically doing this on the first call to prospect, or when do they do this, send this to the customer?
Oh, that's a great question. Typically the first call, you're not gathering as much great information. So typically where you should be sending that vision letter is after the deep dive. That's where you gather a lot of great information. That's where you want to be sure that the customer and yourself are very much so aligned. This is what we learned during the deep dive. Here are the notes that we gathered. Let us know if anything's off. Let us know if you want to add anything, any other pains or complexities or things we should watch out for. So ideally, you want to send it after the deep dive because that is where you're gathering the most information. You're spending a good amount of time, and they need to ensure that you are actually understanding what you uncovered during the deep dive.
All right. Well, that was it. As far as questions go, if you could stop your share, I've got one or two more things to say before we let these people out for the next session.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Eli, for the presentation. That was so amazing. Great thoughts on discovery and deep dives. And I think there's a lot that people could take away. A lot of people are asking for this deck, so I'll make sure that we get it out to them. We want to remind
you. And then really quick, while you're going through that, Jared, everyone, if you can just put what is the top thing that you took away? I would love to see that. If you can just put it in that chat, I would love to see that. All right. Sorry, Gary, go ahead.
No worries. All right. Just want to remind you as you exit to make sure that you do the session feedback survey. Each survey you fill out gets you more points as far as the gamification goes here at DemoFest, which will get you more opportunities to win some fantastic prizes like you see there. DemoFest is going to hit the road. Like Willie Nelson says, we can't wait to get on the road again. We've had a really good time bringing some of these presentations to you in cities like San Francisco, London, and Salt Lake here near us where we're based. And we can't wait to hit the road again, to go back to London, to go to New York, as well as Dublin later this year. You can register for any of these at demofest.com. That's also in the Docs tab on the right of your screen. Feel free to stop by our expo hall to visit some of our premier partners of DemoFest. Just as a reminder, there was no transfer of money, so no one was paid for this. No one received anything to be a presenter. So people like Eli are really going above and beyond to be part of this. So go ahead and check those out. You're going to join. Thanks again for joining us for Deep Dive Discovery Best Practices with Eli. The insights were really great. Up on the screen is going to show the sessions that are coming up. If you're in this track, you're going to be pushed automatically to the next session. If you want to go to another one, you can toggle between sessions by going to the agenda tab on the top left of your screen. Enjoy the rest of DemoFest. We'll see you soon.